Wolves.
Yeah, that was we must have done that at least 10 years.
I'll bring it up.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. I had a lot of fun doing that. It's cool.
Well, this has been a fucking blast. I mean, it really has. Like getting to meet kind of all the guys from the '90s. Like, I mean, you know how Gizz and I fucking pseudo knew each other and then met and then came back together was the California.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. That was Mike Sorrell. You know him?
From where?
He's the guy that produced that, the California.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
Tape.
I just know Greg McCorder.
Huh?
Greg McCorder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was the guy that.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I
think you guys were on one of those, right?
Yeah, he was. They were on that.
Yeah. I think that was an introduction to a lot of people for a lot of small bands.
Yeah.
I'll bring that one up too.
What?
Not yet.
Oh, we still got
4 minutes. I'm sticking this microphone so far up my ass. I don't have a lot of ass. I don't even have a lot of ass.
Are you serious?
Go. What happened?
I don't know. I was waiting 4 more minutes.
We just sit here quietly and fucking stare
for
at
4
Sean.
minutes. For 4 minutes. What show you, buddy?
Fuck you, Sean.
You know what you should do? Wait.
He's like the worst kind of drag racer. He pops the light every time.
Or are you fucking with us and we're not live? I don't trust this motherfucker.
I don't trust anything. I didn't know it was gonna be a pro tree. I thought it was gonna be the fucking street tree.
Yeah, I guess we are live. Oh man, here we go. Episode number 11.
Yes.
How you doing, Paul?
Oh, I'm fucking horrible. Actually, I'm sick as a dog. I'm never sleeping with you again.
That's what I told you. I told you I was
top.
You know what you should do? Stay off of me. Well, I'm your host, Gizz Lazlo.
Just Paul.
And welcome to another episode of You Know What You Should Do. Today is a really special. Every week is special, man, because every week I get to bring in my friends that I've known for 30 years, and this guest is
he's barely 30 years old, so that's kind of weird.
Yeah. But I remember I met these guys in '89. Jughead's Revenge. I met them through a friend of mine, and I started talking to Joey, and Joey and I just that sense of humor, we just couldn't stop. And then that night I met, the rest of the band, which was Joe Doherty and Brian Price and Ninus, which Ninus ended up producing the very first Dead Lazlo's Place record at his studio, Revenge Studios.
Right.
So Ninus is really cool. I was going to say this for later on in the
here to go, premature ejaculation.
But the thing that I love about Jughead's Revenge is they've never had a shit drummer. Every drummer they've ever had, Ninus, Kevin Heller, Ty, Jared, and Andy, every drummer they've ever had is just phenomenal. I
was going to say they had one of the most fantastic singers in all of punk rock at the time. But if you want to be a dick to our guest,
no, I mean, in the early days of Jugheads, I remember they were a great punk metal band, but this new album that they came out with, oh man, Joe's voice just, I don't know how someone, well, I get it, you become comfortable with that voice, and his voice on this new record is just by far just the best sounding, purest vocal performance that he's ever, in my opinion.
I mean, it's always about evolution and getting comfortable, like you said, finding your place. I
mean, amazing albums, but this one here is the one that's just like, I have to listen to it again, and then I have to listen to it again, and then I can go to sleep.
It's on repeat outside.
Yeah, I know. I noticed when we got here, it was already playing. But let's get him in.
All right, Joe
Doherty, ladies and gentlemen.
Do I get theme music?
Yeah. How you doing, buddy?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure hanging out with you. We hung out at the Redwood, back in January for the Jungen party, and
that was a lot of fun.
You guys in Fairvale. Well,
dude, that was a fucking blast.
Yeah, it was fun.
Oh.
And there was a couple friends of mine that were there that, a lot of the people that grew up in my town, they're just huge Jughead's fans. You know, I remember Joey and I. He came to see For Sale or Dead Lazlo's place at a house party we were playing at, and a bunch of my buddies, you know, probably like 10 years younger than me, we were like, "Is that the guy from Jughead's Revenge?"
Right.
Oh yeah. I was like, "Oh, dude, what's he doing here?"
Joey.
Yeah, like, you can't mistake him.
Yeah,
I know.
Remici's kind of hard to
If you look at a picture of him from 30 years ago, he looks exactly the same.
Except with his hair was horrible back then. Oh,
Reserve
yeah.
judgment. Reserve
Oh
judgment.
man, he just looked like, you know, I can't say it.
Oh, you can't.
I
Are we going to say Don Prudhomme?
Because
Because I was thinking Don Prudhomme.
He did 30 years ago.
But he looks good now. Like he
Yeah,
just, you know, and
he's a sweetheart.
and he still is an amazing guitar player. Like that's something that you guys always had: amazing guitar players, amazing bass players. You know, Brian and Eric, like, dude, two phenomenal bass players. You know,
Yeah.
and then you're no slouch as well, man. It's like,
Thanks,
dude, that band has always just been ripping, like consistently, like really fucking good records, good
Yeah,
songs.
Absolutely,
you know?
100% like rock solid all the way through. Like never a disappointment.
Thanks.
Even on songs like I'm like, you covered that, but you killed it. So I feel good about that.
You guys did Burning Love, right?
No, we did Love Me Tender.
Oh, that's right.
Dude, Love Me Tender is such an awesome cover.
Yeah, that was with the Slayer hippie from Poison Idea. Well, he produced the record and he did some vocals on like the intro to that. He did a very good Elvis imitation.
It was fantastic. That's like one of my favorite songs in all of punk rock. It's like,
Yeah.
somebody killed that.
That was a fun record to do.
No.
Slayer was he was a funny guy.
Backstory go.
He was a drummer for Poison Idea.
Yeah.
Which I think you guys were heavily influenced by.
Sure. Yeah, they were
Black
they were
Flag
Yeah,
and-
Black Flag and Bad Religion was in there and yeah, just a mix of stuff. That's how. Well, I mean, the first two records were really based on Blast.
Oh man,
That's right. That's
there's a
right.
call out.
Yeah, we were really into Blast at the time, so I think the first two records were kind of shades of that, and then the Poison Idea stuff kind of came after that.
So you guys got started out in the Valley?
I did. I grew up in the Valley, and Ninas, who our first drummer was Kevin Heller, and me and him had known each other since like junior high. He was technically our first drummer, and then he quit because his other band was getting mad that he was playing with us. So then we found Ninas, who was out in Reseda, and Joey, grew up in Venice, and Brian was from Hollywood. So we were from like all over LA.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but we practiced in the Valley at Ninas's house where you guys recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. And how did that work out? Kind of like, you guys had cars?
Yeah, right. Well,
I didn't have a car.
Traffic wasn't nearly as bad as it is now, but,
Oh, God, no.
but yeah, I mean, we practiced like a lot. I mean, we had basically a free studio, so it was we spent a lot of time there.
How did you actually come up with the name Jughead's Revenge? Like, where did that come from?
It was really just like a metaphor. It didn't have anything to do with what everybody was thinking it came from. It was really just a metaphor of just being a nerd.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we weren't like cool guys or anything. So, and we weren't like big partiers or anything back then. So
it was just kind of an easy beginning, easy place to be.
yeah.
All right.
When did the first album come out?
1990.
And that was on BYO?
No, we did it ourselves.
Lawsuit
Records.
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah, with Eric Laura and Chris Long. I think they were doing stuff under that label name too. But kind of prolific in some way.
Wait, you guys recorded constantly. Like it seems like you never really quit on that.
Yeah, we recorded a lot at Ninas's studio, like demo stuff, and then we would we'd put some of it out or whatever. But we did when we first did like a real recording, it was at West Beach, which and it was at the old West Beach when it was in a house kind of behind the Palladium in Hollywood. We would like set up in like the living room, and they would have like the guitar cabinets in like in a closet, and then the console was in like this hallway that led out to like a den area. But I think somebody should do a documentary on West Beach because some of the best records were recorded there. All the early Bad Religion stuff, the early No Effect stuff.
Yeah, anything that was on
Circle Jerks recorded
Epitaph or
yeah. I mean, like it was.
What if there's any footage of that around?
I don't think so. I mean, I used to just hang out there. You know, I wasn't recording, and I'd still go by and I'd see, you know, like Bad Religion when they were recording Against the Grain, when No Effects was recording Ribbed. And it was, you just hang out, and Brett would be playing chess in the den area while, you know, the band's like tapping their foot, looking at their watch. And, but it was his studio, so whatever, you know, nobody was paying for it. But, guys from Drive Like Jehu or Yeah by Law, or just like everyone would just come by. It was really weird. But then they moved it to a studio that was connected to the production workshop, which later became the Museum of Death on Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
It's my bedroom.
Yeah. Brett and Donnell Cameron, he's one of the most unsung heroes of 90s punk. They bought like the recording studio part of the producer's workshop. So it had its own entrance and everything. And it wasn't like huge or, you know, like elaborate really in any way. It was just like it was like a small little room and a bathroom, and then you know, where the console was, and then where you recorded. But everybody recorded there. So many incredibly awesome records came out of there,
right?
Like Propagandhi, Rocket from the Crypt,
anything that came out from the mid 90s.
Yeah, any punk band that was,
and a lot of that stuff was done cheap or free, right?
It was pretty cheap
as you can get.
Well, I mean, I think it's cheaper to record a record now just because it's all digital. But back then, I mean, if you got Donnell Cameron, like he was the house guy. I mean, that's incredible that you would even get such a talented engineer to work on your record. I mean, like when West Beach was in a house, it would be Breck Urwitz and Donnell.
Wow, that's like a powerhouse.
You couldn't do that now for anything. So we did the first record there at the one in the house, and then the second record, the one with Slayer, we did at the other West Beach. But it was so funny. I remember seeing the calendar, and like Brett it was like an office that was you had to walk through that to get to the room where, you know, you set up and played. And the calendar that was on there had, you know, just blocks of, you know, this band. But it was just so funny. You just like see all the names of the bands.
The who's who of everything.
I mean, it was crazy.
It felt funny to look back, and most of those bands are legiondary bands now.
Yeah. Right. And I think you got like a week. I think every band could record there for a week. Unless, well, I mean, but then you see Bad Religion, they have like 3 weeks blocked out.
Wow.
But
they're special.
Yeah. But that's how it was, because they had such a demand that, you could get like a week. So that got so busy after a while that we couldn't get any time in. So then we checked out Paramount Studios, which was down the street from the Epitaph office. So it's Santa Monica and Vine.
Yep.
And Joey and I went in there just to see, like, you know, let's see how expensive it is. And they were giving us a tour of the place. And I remember Ice Cube was recording in there. I think it was America's Most Wanted. Yes. And they were like gone, like at lunch or something. And the guy was like, okay, I can take you in to show us like the big room, like where the drums, you know, would go and everything. But they used to do the soundtracks for the old Paramount movies in there. I don't think they had anything to do with the studio anymore, but they just kept the name. But they did it all there. Like there was still like a screen and
oh, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, that was such a great room. That was a great place. So yeah, we just started recording there. And I think we did some comp stuff at West Beach later, where we would just be there for like 2 days or something. You know, we can kind of squeeze in and do that.
Did you guys ever record in Europe?
No.
Are you sure?
Well, I've seen a ton of bootlegs, so technically yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, not off topic at all, but kind of out of left field. What was the best room you recorded in? Like, where do you think you did your best work as a band as a whole?
I'd say, well, I mean, everybody always says, the new one. But actually, the new one is different because it was all that was like our first record to record digitally.
Right.
Everything else was, back and
Analog,
forth.
3/4
And,
tape.
yeah, lots of time just being devoured. And this guy Jay Stolo, he produced the new record Vultures, and it was like a dream working with this guy because everything was just so easy and it was quick, and we didn't waste a lot of time. Where back in the old days, they get out the razor blade and like tape, and they're like, like what would take 20 minutes now would take an hour and a half back then, but
even longer sometimes.
Right. So modernly, Straight Jacket Studios in Fullerton, that was the funnest experience. But I think as far as the 90s stuff went, I'd say 13 Kitty Favorites, we recorded at Paramount. We really lucked out with this engineer, Barry Conley, who he had worked with like Fear and some other bands a long time ago. But just the tones that he got, like everything was just, man, it was good.
You feel like it captured the wholeness of it.
Yeah, it was just even that drum sound. Like whenever I would hear those songs now, it's like, man, he really nailed it. That was with Jared was on that one. So, so Paramount was it was pretty cool. Also, it was equipped for quad. If you remember that, if I'm probably the oldest guy in the room right now. So.
I don't know, actually.
Quadraphonic was a thing in the 70s.
I remember that.
It would be mixed into where you would hear it in 4 speakers. So things would like pan around or whatever. It was a trend that didn't last very well.
No.
But Barry was telling me about Zappa had recorded Apostrophe there, and he was like, he did it for quad. And I'm like, really? And he went to the back of the room and took off these panels, and you see like where the speaker used to be. So you had like if you're at the console, you had those, and then you had
the ones behind you.
Yeah. Totally. So Paramount was still equipped for quad.
Wow.
Oh, now they got what?
5.0.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, the whole room is essentially one big microphone now. Like it picks up everything from everywhere, and then you can manipulate everything completely digitally. It's
right. No, that's what I mean. The digital thing is just, it's really nice.
It is nice. So that was one of the things. Like, how do you
singer?
Singer.
It's so much easier now because back then you had to do your whole song, and and now
you had to sing your whole song.
And nowadays I know I do. I'll do line by line sometimes, or just do the verse, go back and double, and then move on. But
back then we would do just one. Well, we would do three different vocal tracks, and then just kind of hodgepodge them together,
comp them together.
That was I mean, I'm sure other studios did it, but that was a West Beach thing. I saw Donnell do that with other bands when I was just hanging out watching everything. But that was another thing that just made him just so great, because I knew what he was doing, but then you hear the end of it and you're like, God, it's like seamless.
Now he did the Bad Town Boys EP in '95,
right?
And we recorded with him.
Yeah,
and I was so stoked because he did the first Doughboys record, whatever.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. He's whatever filmmakers out there, somebody do a documentary on West Beach Recorders, because that is if there was ever punk rock history in LA, that studio would played a huge hand in it.
I think in the United States, because there were bands that came out from back east in the Midwest just to come record out here.
Yeah, in Canada and
it's like the only thing you could get even close to that is with Blasting Room now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I guess that's a big question. Like, what are the newer studios? Like, I'm out of the loop on that completely. Like, what's going on in that scene as far as recording stuff goes? Do you know?
No. I mean, well, if you have the gear, I mean, some people record at their houses.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was like completely unheard of, once upon a time. But
back in the 90s.
That's what I do now. I when like Foreclosure records, I go in, I do all my initial vocals there, and then I go back home and I do all my harmonies, all my backing vocals, do everything.
That's awesome.
Like, and I do it myself.
Wildly convenient.
Yeah. And then I can do, 1342 vocal tracks.
Jeez.
Yeah, well, I mean,
at your age, it helps.
Shut up.
Yeah, I mean, the record that we did with the Slayer hippie, he worked kind of slow, and everybody else was kind of taking longer than they should have, and vocals are at the end. So I had to do 18 songs in one day.
What?
Wow.
I want to know. I want to know more about the Slayer hippie. This sounds fantastic. Like, what is a Slayer hippie?
Oh, he was the drummer from Poison Idea. He was a character. He passed away, I think, was it last year?
Oh.
Yeah.
He was down here. I saw him. He was playing with The Accused. I saw him like it was a couple months before he passed away, but he was a trippy guy.
I think everybody in Poison Idea is a pretty trippy guy. Pig Champion, and Jerry A.
Yeah,
I got to hang out with Jerry a lot here in the States and then in Europe. We had a mutual friend in Holland, and when he was in town, we just hung out.
Yeah, that's how I met him. He called me one day. I think he got my number from Slayer, but he's like, "Hey man, I'm going on tour with the Hard-Ons in Australia, and I got to stop over in LAX. Come on down." I never met him. I was like, "What the fuck?"
I feel like it should be a Slayer hippie T-shirt. Like,
yeah,
I mean, that's a really. Man. Those are very diametrically opposed things. Like,
don't say it. Joey's already on it.
Yeah.
It's already done by now.
Oh man, hi Joey.
Isn't that a band?
You got any chips, Joey?
Isn't that a band? Hi Joey. Jump for Joey.
Jump for Joey. Yeah.
It was a ska band, wasn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah, why would
or anything Australian. What was your favorite venue to play in town? We'll do two, in town and abroad. Like, where's your favorite place in LA to actually play?
In LA, I liked the Palace. That was nice. Roxy.
Roxy's always fun.
Yeah. Whiskey, I was never really thrilled about. I thought the stage was too high.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially if you're short like me and you're like, I'm gonna jump off. Nope.
Yeah.
I did it anyways. I just did it anyways.
Roxy I thought was cool.
Sound guy at the Roxy when I played there was amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I rolled in with a full cap and he's like, no, come here. Yeah. And he takes me upstairs, like, sit here and listen. And he's like, do you understand? I'm like, I get you, dude. I'm like, unplug some shit. Like, the lesson was amazing. He's like, fuck you. I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh God, well, you should have seen Joey back in the anti-club days showing up with the Dave Rat full stack. And then like in between songs, can everyone hear my gutar? I'm like, dude, the neighbors down the
That's all they can hear.
They can hear you in Canada and Mexico.
They can hear you.
I love getting older because I'm like, a 212 fucking combo is just fine.
Yeah.
It's easier to carry. You don't have to rattle it around too much, and they're gonna mic you.
Yeah.
But that's one thing about Joey. His sound has always been like
specific.
Jughead,
Yeah.
Even anything else he ever did,
Yeah, his tone.
Like, how's that Jughead tone?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, his hard tone's awesome.
And now he makes his own pedals.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that was another thing about West Beach is that his Marshall cab that he had there had those the celestial greenbacks in them, and Donnell was like, I love this amp, can I hold on to it for a little bit? Joey's like, yeah, sure. And it stayed there for, I don't know, 7 years or something.
Oh wow.
So that wound up on all these other people's records.
Yeah, he was playing through a JCM. Do you remember
back then?
Yeah.
Oh, well, no, he went through a couple of things. I mean, in the early days, I think he was playing through like a tri-axis, but then like most of the 90s guitar players kind of jumped on the Mesa Boogie dual rectifiers and Les Pauls. Yeah,
now it's orange.
Now it's orange. Yeah, these things kind of go in trends.
That's what I love about being a singer.
I love
SM58.
I love Marshall. I like Fender, and I play through whatever that is, Randall.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Well, I mean, fuck, when we were doing 13 Kitty Favorites, we had like multiple guitar tracks, but we were using a PV Butcher that we got from, I know, right? But dude, that was the thing. Yeah, it was a Jim Cherry from Strung Out's amp, and he brought that down, but once it was turned up like all the way and mic'd, and when you're in the other room, it sounded awesome. But yeah, everybody like at the other studios in Paramount were complaining because it was so loud, and then it would overheat, and we had to like stop for a while and then start again. But yeah, sometimes like from the shittiest amps, you can once it's mic'd and you're listening to it in the other room, sometimes it's
and sound guys can do wonders with that shit.
But that was Barry, man. He was great.
Lazlo recorded at, I think it was Present Time, and I think it was film. No.
Rough Trade.
He was from Sweden. I can't. Oh, Jonas Hansen. He actually came here with Yngwie, and the guitar player from Dead Lazlo's place. He had his amp. I think it was like a Randall head and a Marshall cabinet, and he was just like, the cabinet just doesn't sound right. So he brought out a Sun amp, like a practice amp.
Oh yeah,
and he everybody in the room was like Ike and the other guy was just like, oh man, I don't know. He's like, I'm recording the speaker, not the cabinet.
Yeah.
And I record most of my stuff on this. Yngwie has recorded out of this.
Right.
And yeah, it was right. You put a microphone in front of that little amp. You're getting that.
Everything. Sometimes
you get that
some
pumping
hair on
speaker.
those testicles.
Yeah.
All right. So overseas tours. When did you guys first go overseas?
We went to Europe the first time in '93. That's when we started going to Canada too. So yeah, that's when things were kind of.
That's not really an overseas.
No, but I mean, it was just out of the country. Because I was thinking that we went to Canada later, but no, it was in '93.
That was the coolest thing about '93 is you guys and Bad Town Boys both got to go to Europe, and
it seems like that '92 to '96 period was really like a very. It seems German heavy for everybody. I've heard from
European heavy, man.
Yeah, so like everybody's like German party go.
Yeah, well, especially in '93, it was kind of a really good time because if you're a punk band from California, there was going to be people there and they were going to be partying.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, we were really, because we weren't like big partiers or anything, and we were like really tripping out when we got there. But we would, we'd do like our set, which was, I don't know, like 30, 40 minutes maybe.
So 17 songs.
Yeah. For us, the first record is 12 songs. It's 26 minutes.
Minutemen got nothing.
Yeah, we would do the set, and they're like, keep playing. We're like, we don't have any more songs. Like, play them again. So we
already forgot.
Yeah, so then we started busting out just like anything that we were fucking around with at practice, which was
you guys did a lot of surf stuff too.
Surf songs. So yeah,
dude, that stuff was brilliant.
Yeah, so we started playing surf songs, but they weren't ready for that yet. They were looking at us like, what? Yeah,
Gale.
That's too California.
Well, no, that was the thing is, we did that. They didn't understand it at all. And then in '94 is when Pulp Fiction came out. So then when we came back, playing surf songs, and everybody would go, totally ape shit. So funny how that turned out.
So how did in that period, you guys were obviously doing a few covers here and there. I'll skip backwards for a second. So what was your favorite place in Europe? Like when you guys were overseas, like where were you the most happy, most comfortable, the best crowds, that kind of stuff?
Well, wherever the best crowd was, I guess that's the favorite. But Berlin and Hamburg.
KOB?
We played KOB. Played tons of squats. Where else? At the Marquee in Hamburg. But the Hamburg and Berlin were kind of like our home away from home.
Right on.
Yeah, our agent was out of Hamburg, and we made like a ton of friends in Berlin.
Millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah,
in beer. In beer.
Did you guys ever play the Fabrique?
The Fabrique? No, I went. I saw a show there. I saw Leatherface there. Oh. Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, we had a day off, and Goalie, our agent, was like, want to come with me? I'm like, yeah. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a cool club.
Yeah,
kind of reminded
me elephant, like carcass head.
Oh, really?
It was right above the stage.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of iguanas in TJ.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
like that wrought iron, like that brutalist industrial kind of vibe.
That was the coolest thing about those European, especially German, like venues, that they were just so decorated, like paintings, and graffiti. And,
even like
the cities.
Even the crustiest of squats were, aesthetically.
Germany is just full of actually vibrant art, from what I understand. Mm-hmm. I have a friend who was there last year, and he's like, it's fucking amazing.
Have you guys played it, or have you been to Transplants in Palmdale yet?
No.
A very like kind of fabrikish. You know, you walk
Oh,
in, and you're
wow.
just like, wow, dude, I feel at home.
Right. It's a venue?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Transparent
I didn't know.
Brewing Company.
Yeah, Transhouse Brewery.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Everybody's been playing there.
Oh, well, hopefully we'll go to.
I was lucky enough to play there about 3 years ago.
It wasn't that long ago. You guys played there last year.
Oh yeah, I played there 6 times. So, it's a really cool venue.
So six.
Yeah.
Oh,
6.
6.
6.
So
W's in the chat.
So read your Wikipedia.
Anybody commenting or anything?
No,
Probably Joey hasn't said anything.
I don't even want to have any.
Rich.
It's all viewers -3.
People
You
are taking
owe us
back
money.
comments they haven't said yet.
I made my phone turn off. Oh, like last week.
Just comment.
Last week we had
No.
Greg Keith from Battown Boys in,
yeah.
and his brother ends up calling me, and I'm like, why is he calling me? And finally, he's like,
somebody
answer
call
the
Gizz.
phone. So they go, hey, can you answer your phone? So I answered. He's like, you guys got that fact wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
For Joey to call right now.
So on the
Like Rain
Wikipedia
Man.
page for Jughead, it was actually kind of cool. And Gizz and I've talked about this a lot. Like, what is or isn't punk rock? And there's not really an answer to that. The bigger answer is like, if it's fucking what we do, it's punk rock. And so there's a big credit given to you guys for like actually introducing bands like Green Day, The Offspring, and Blink-182, and kind of pulling them up into your shows and doing that stuff.
Yeah.
And initially, my gut reaction is like, no, fuck those guys. But the truth is, they're doing what they do, and they do it fucking great, and they're bringing people back into it. And because of those bands, they're discovering you guys again.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that stuff?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think like, when we were playing with Green Day. This is 91.
They didn't even have an album yet.
No, well, Kerplunk had just come out, and I had heard about him because we were playing at Gilman by that time, and they had their thing going on, and the first time we played with them was at the Whiskey with No Effects and Lagwagon, and Mike was telling me about. Well, Mike he put the bill together, but he was telling me, yeah, this band, Green Day. I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard about them, Gilman. And I specifically, it was like kind of like one of those like almost famous kind of moments where I'm standing on the side of the stage and I'm watching them play, and I hadn't seen them before, and they started. And usually crowds in LA around that time were exactly hospitable. So
no, we weren't.
Right. So like if they didn't like you, you were gonna find out. And I'm watching them play, and I'm looking over at the crowd, and everyone's just kind of like tripping out. Like, man, these guys are good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was it's interesting to see what they've kind of evolved into. I mean, good for them. I mean, it's great.
I remember I went with you guys. I think it was the Bad Sam's too. I went up there to go to Gilman, and I saw Green Day, and then they played a Coconut Teaser, and I told all my friends, you got to go. And during the middle of their set, I was like, hanging out with my friends, and I'm like, these guys one day are going to be bigger than the Ramones. And they're like, bullshit,
man.
Right.
Bullshit.
That's a lot to say, though. I mean, to be honest, that's a pretty big statement to make. And
For a 3-piece to have those harmonies, to have those songs, and Trey had just joined them because I believe the first time I saw them, they had the original drummer.
Yeah, I think the Coconut Teaser show was before the Whiskey show.
Yes, oh, definitely.
Yeah. But no, I that was the vibe at the Whiskey show. Was everyone was like, "Oh shit, who are these guys?"
The same thing to me was in the late 80s, early 90s at the country club. I saw Goo Goo Dolls there,
awesome.
And I
Prince
knew.
played there.
Oh yeah,
U2,
Kiss, the Ramones, Bad Brains. I got kicked out of that show though.
Oh, I was at that show.
I
with
kicked
the
out.
Sick of It All opening.
Yeah, and then the infamous Poison Idea show there
the
with Destruction.
Was it with Destruction? Oh, I know they. Well, one time it was with the Dwarves and I think it was the Melvins and the Chemical People. Yeah, that's a reach.
I remember the one with the Poison Idea show that I remember was Jerry A had that fifth of Jack Daniels, and he finished it and he broke it and he just started cutting his forehead, and then he grabbed another bottle and then he spit fire. I was in the balcony, smoking a joint, and dude, it was 100 degrees when he did that up in the balcony.
Well, I mean, for those at home, the Country Club was a venue in Reseda, part of LA, and that I mean, we played there a few times. It wasn't my favorite to play, but it was my favorite venue to go to because I mean, A, I lived nearby, and B, they had this incredible run of shows. I mean,
I thought you were gonna say buffet.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a church now, but before they closed it, they filmed all the club scenes of Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
So that you know, at the very beginning, where it's like the Reseda Theater, and then it kind of pans down into Luis Guzman out in front of the club or whatever. That was the Country Club, and that
donut shop was right down the street too.
Yeah, no, everything's right there. Yeah, and the church.
My brother lives right down the street, right there in Etowanda.
Yeah, that's man. That venue was so cool. It was perfectly sized because
it had those tiers, and then the balcony.
Yeah,
there wasn't a shit.
I don't think I ever made it to the Country Club.
There
was a
wasn't
poor
shit
kid
place.
from South El Monte, man. I didn't get very far.
Yeah, we played there with Bad Religion. Played there with the Circle Jerks. Played there with No Effects. Yeah, it was.
I got to see RKL there.
Yeah, it was really. Yeah, and then they did all those Orange County straight edge bands too.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I never understood that because it was like the whole straight edge hardcore scene in Orange County would come all the way up to Reseda to have these shows. I never understood that.
Who were some of those bands? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, Instead, Visual Discrimination, Carry Nation.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
Where was Uniform Choice from?
Orange County.
They're almost San Diego.
I liked Uniform Choice, but there was that other band that they started right after, Unity.
Oh,
they were really good. I'll send you a link to their album because
cool.
Yeah, I know you'll like it because it was that sound, that 90s.
Yeah, it just tripped me out because everybody around the venue who lived there, they're just we didn't know anybody at these things. At the straight edge shows.
I got to see the Grimm back, that was 89. And went to go see them because I was gonna meet Lewis, who was playing guitar for them.
Oh, right.
From Dead Lazlo's place and for sale and for closure. And he looked at me and I had my hat all flipped up, and he was like, "Dude, are you a suicidal?" No. Okay, I'm good. All right, let's do this.
Who's your favorite act to tour with? You gotta have one. Who did you tour with? That fit so well, did all the things, checked all the boxes.
The Nobodies. Yeah, from Colorado Springs. Yeah, those guys, we took them to Europe with us, and man, they were just the funnest guys to be around.
Right on.
Yeah, I mean, we toured with other bands where it wasn't very much fun, but the Nobodies was just awesome. That was Europe 96, I think, or 97. I don't know.
What was the worst band you toured with?
Gizz Lazlo.
Yeah. That's funny though. We've never toured together. We've played shows together. Many times, but never toured.
Yeah.
I always thought that there would be a Jughead's, Bad Town Boys tour, just because we were,
in Europe, that would have been really great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's still time.
There is still time to do a punk rock retirement tour. I'm just saying. Anybody wants to think of that, man?
Around.
Oh yeah. You guys should tour the Sex. What? Who?
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine the flight? All handicap sections.
Yeah. Jeez.
You're gonna have to put extra bathrooms on this.
The oxygen tanks just come down at the beginning.
Oh, every seat's a toilet. That would be perfect. I don't have to move.
They have to be. And they bring back the ashtrays next to you. Because you remember that in '93, they still had the ashtrays.
Yeah.
Once you hit international waters, right?
Yeah. And then the last time I had seen those was in literally the 1970s when I was a little kid.
Ugh.
Smoking section of a plane
in the back.
Yeah.
The cancer tube. Hey kid, you want some processed cheese with a cigarette?
Yeah.
How about some vodka?
The first tour I did in '93 when I went to Europe. Remember the little cheese things that they give you with the crackers and all that and the bread. Yeah. And Ike and I were sitting next to each other. We were the two new guys in the band, and I was like, "Oh, cheese, right on." I'm all kind of waxy.
Yeah.
He looks at me and he goes, "Did you take the cover off?" I was like, I didn't know there was a cover. It was a wax cover. Yeah, like a pack of cigarettes. You had to take, and then open it and there was the cheese inside.
That's also how
Scandal, man.
that's the same reason he doesn't have any kids.
Dude, that was the first time I heard "stupid American." I heard that a lot.
I know I was gonna say it wasn't the last.
Dude,
Yeah.
walking
Everybody
down the
gets that over
streets where they, bicycle lanes, and you ring, 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 ring. You're like, what the fuck?
What?
You're
Fuck
like,
you,
Scheisse!
what?
Then you turn around. Oh, dude, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Oh, stupid American.
Well, I remember this girl in Italy was saying, "Oh, you stupid Americans with your Ronald Reagan and your hamburgers." This is in 1995.
Oh
by
my
the way.
god! Congratulations, you have a memory.
You're Ronald Reagan and your hamburgers.
Dude, I hadn't had McDonald's in probably close to 10 years. And
Now he's addicted.
8 years, I would say. And the first year I went to Europe, man, 2 weeks into that 6-week tour, man, I was like, McDonald's sounds so good right now.
Yeah.
And it was the best tasting thing, man.
Well, we went there Mad Cow was going on in like 93, 94.
Why is there not a Mad Cow band?
So I know, right? There has to be.
It was Mad Ball.
Yeah. Yeah, with the McDonald's, of course, were
It's like the brunt of that.
Heavily into it.
well, they were pretty worried about it. So yeah, they had like their regular menu, and then they had the same menu, but it was all like vegetarian, and it was actually really, really good.
Oh wow, really?
I was hoping that they were going to do it out here, but I think they just did it because of Mad Cow, because nobody wanted to eat any meat out there.
Was that the first like plant-based burgers, or
Well, no, I mean there were plant-based burgers back then.
were you ever a vegetarian?
I was a vegetarian for 11 years or so, and it wasn't even like, it wasn't a political thing at all. It was I quit drinking and doing all that stuff at the time, and I just it just happened. So then when we got out there, I was like, wow, because I hadn't been to a McDonald's in years either, and I saw they had like a total vegetarian menu. I tried. I'm like, God, this is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as soon as Mad Cow was over, they're like, okay, we're back to.
Fuck your vegetarians. I'm the vegetarians. Always
Now we're back to
searching for
Sad Cow.
perfect steak taste. Like,
Yeah, well, that was pretty serious.
I'll never
stuff
eat
out
meat
there
again,
back
but I
then.
want to taste a steak.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, I started eating meat again. It was my birthday was coming up or something. We went to Lowry's.
Oh god,
I know.
I'm hungry now.
Well, I didn't want to drag my family to another hippie granola place. I know they're not gonna like. Well, fuck it. Let's just go to Lowry's. Like, really? Yeah, and I don't regret it. It was
Can you put extra beef in the potatoes?
yeah, Lowry's, man.
I did 3 years, and like the day I came back, I'm like, we're doing this again right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to be thin. I just need to be full.
That was the thing about touring in Europe, that most venues gave you a vegan or vegetarian meal, and it was just like, oh, not again.
Yeah.
In '93, the reason I started eating at McDonald's was because I had spaghetti 62 days in a row or whatever, how many days I was there.
Or pizza.
And then I get home and I go to my mom's house, and I'm like, oh yeah, finally Mexican food. And she makes spaghetti. I go, why? She goes, you were just in Italy, and I wanted you to feel like you were still on tour.
Also, she fucking knew.
No, and to this
day,
man, I don't like spaghetti.
I'm so making spaghetti tomorrow for you.
I can't do it.
I'm gonna bring it over and see. What
I can't even have fideo, which is like a Mexican spaghetti.
Yeah,
it's just the noodles. Like, I love pasta.
Right.
It's just spaghetti. Like, ugh.
Yeah. When we were just there, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, it was mostly like pasta dishes every night.
Mm-hmm. There was one place in
culture.
Copenhagen where they made us this. It was like vegetarian fajitas, tomatoes, green peppers, but like you remember Steakums? Or the meat.
They still make those, by the way.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, they fucking do.
Or that meat that you get from Yoshinoya.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds horrible good.
But that's what it looked like, but it was vegetarian.
Yeah,
like tofu or whatever, and it was amazing. Just the spices they put in.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So I was really into it.
My dog's name is D-Boone. He loves Steakums. What do you guys attribute? I don't know what you guys. It's just you. Like, obviously, Poison Idea was a big influence, right? Some other back influences, like throw me something off the charts, like something weird. Like, everybody's got a weird fucking closet, man. Like, I love Journey. I shouldn't, but everybody's got some weird closet, man. What do you got, like, influence wise, that like kind of comes out of left field?
Well, as far as the band goes, we were all into, like, I mean, we agreed on certain bands, but everybody was kind of into their own thing. but when we would be writing stuff, like we all knew
what you're headed to.
Yeah, like what path that was. It wasn't like, oh, what does this sound? It's like, yeah, of course it sounds like, whatever the so-and-so is. I don't know. For me, I grew up listening to a lot of different kinds of music on my block in, the mid 70s. I was like the youngest kind of out of all the kids on the block, which back then almost every home had a family. So there was, different tiers of, ages. So, like my mom and my sister were into 70s disco, Donna Summer, Bee Gees, stuff like that.
Diana Ross.
Yeah. And then there was, miscellaneous stoner dudes on the block, like the older dudes that were into, Zeppelin and Sabbath.
Steve Miller Band.
Oh, man.
And then when like 1980 came around, that's when, the first punkers started, kind of
emerging from the shadows.
Yeah, guys that, like for instance, like Jay Bentley was my neighbor, and I knew him when he was wearing like Kiss Destroyer shirts, but then when he was like a punker, which back then it was like, whoa,
you're new.
Yeah, but well, he was showing me bands that he was into, like the Adolescents. He was really into TSOL. He was really into, and the Vandals, the first lineup of them.
With Steve-O.
Yeah, so I was kind of soaking in all these different things. There's, like the disco stuff. Well, also, John Coltrane's kids also lived on my same block.
Oh my God, seriously?
Yeah. So like but they weren't really all into jazz. One of the sons, he really was, but he turned me on to like Return to Forever and Herbie Hancock, stuff like that. The youngest son, who I was hanging out with, he was really into like Motley Crue, and this is when Too Fast for Love came out.
Oh, that's a punk album.
Yeah,
fuck you.
I don't think anybody in punk ever wore that much makeup except for Susie.
Yeah, but that was
I know what you mean.
Misfits.
Yeah,
fuck
well,
you.
okay.
Well, they weren't like they weren't Motley Crue yet. They were still like a local band, but he was really into them and this other like R&B guy that he was into named Prince. When like Dirty Mind and Controversy, like those were records that I heard through him. So yeah, it was a really eclectic mix just on my block. So I kind of soaked all that stuff in, and all those things totally come into play when writing songs.
Yeah.
There are a lot of songs that, like people would have no idea that like just the influence for, like the structure of lyrics or something came from something completely different than the genre that the song's in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
what I love about punk rock though is that
it can come from anywhere.
Yeah. Like,
well, yeah, I mean,
most of the greatest bands, they pull from everything.
Yeah, so for anybody that's like, what, that's lame, it's like, dude, every punk band is like that. Mm-hmm. Like some of the most rad hardcore stuff you ever heard was probably influenced by something that you had no idea.
Like, I'm not a Prince music fan, but as a songwriter and as a musician, that guy's fucking top tier. And
he's incredible.
There's no two ways about it. He gave songs to people constantly. He's like, you should sing this. I made it. Go for it.
Yeah.
He made Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah.
I had no idea that he wrote Manic Monday for Bengals.
Uh-huh.
When we started my first podcast and I was searching, I was like, what? Prince did this song?
Yeah.
And then I read into it. Oh, shit. He actually motherfucking wrote that
the two
song.
musicians that were very prolific of that were Bruce Springsteen and Prince.
Yeah.
And they were good friends at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Prince was, man, I saw him like 15 years ago when he did, when the Jehovah's Witnesses bought the Forum. And he had just recently joined the church, and he's like, I'm doing a fundraiser. So he did 30 shows in 30 days. But then, But then they did another 30 days because, of course.
Why not?
Dude.
Consummate performer, too.
It was so nuts. I mean, like the floor was like, like his symbol, was the stage. And there was like, like the VIP tables or whatever. Those cost like $5,000 or something to sit at those things. But the rest of the seats in the entire Forum, $20.
Yeah.
So, dude,
so how did it feel to sit in that $5,000 seat?
Right.
Huh?
With your royalty money, rock star.
Totally. Yeah. I went to like the 27th show, I think, and he came out. He played for 3.5 hours, and it was the opening night of a tour. but he had already just done like 27, 28 shows.
Right.
And he went, and man, he absolutely kicked ass. Seeing Prince, that was a trip. So I mean, things like that. Those kinds of things can influence you to write even really good punk songs.
Absolutely.
Does the subject matter, like when you were writing, and you're still writing, what is your subject matter that you write about? Something personal, something about other people? Is it about relationships?
All of the above, you know.
Nothing's off limits.
Yeah, like a song that's on the new record, "I'll Be Seeing You," which we did a video for that.
Was that the Claymation one?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Which
man.
was
I'll be
like,
seeing
You guys got an award for that, didn't you?
yeah.
Well, not you.
More royalties.
The guy that actually did it.
Yeah, no, yeah. His name's Jürgen Kling. He is a wildly talented stop motion animator. I mean, I just gave him like the idea for it. You know, like, hey, I want like this zombie skater dude. He's like, okay. And I mean, I thought this
2 days later.
Well, about a week later, you know, is sending stuff over, and I thought it was gonna be like, you know, Gumby or some shit, and it turned out it was just like this gnarly production. I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, so for "I'll Be Seeing You," that's kind of a hodgepodge of different people that I grew up with. Kevin Heller is definitely all over that thing, but it's just little stories like that. Personal stuff, "Isolation Time," which is the first song on the new record. Yeah, that's just my own thing about you know, for a while there, yeah, I like, you know, I didn't talk to anybody for a number of years. So you know, that's just me pouring that stuff out. You know, maybe somebody gets it, quite possibly they don't, I don't know. But as far as, you know, I don't have just one thing. It'll, you know, I could write something about somebody or about myself or about just a different situation, you know.
He's gonna write a song about you next. It's gonna be horrible.
He already did. The ending goes, "We all fall down."
Oh yeah. I did look today, and I want to do some plugs here before we get to the end of our show. Jugheadrevenge.com is not up anymore.
No, I think Jug's Revenge. I don't know what Joey's the website guy.
Joey,
I don't
type in.
I don't know. I mean, do people have websites anymore?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
okay.
pay for them and everything, and nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing.
It's all social media now.
Yeah.
I know, which is goddamn. I mean, touring in the 90s, you really, there were no cell phones. There was no.
You had to have a big jar of quarters.
Yeah. You'd
and the BYO. To book your own fucking life.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, not the label. They wouldn't have even given us a jar of quarters.
No. But back then,
a jar of pesos. Good luck.
Back then, the phone cards, you could actually go to like a 7-Eleven or a liquor store, and they were already filled.
Oh yeah.
So you could, just, you know.
Oh yeah, man. Like you go to, I don't know, say you're playing in Dallas or something. You get into town, and then you find a payphone and you call, you know, the kid out of the book your own fucking life thing that you're doing, and oh yeah, and then I remember like my brother, he's still like a total computer nerd, but a long time ago he gave me like this program. It was like a maps program. So he's like, yeah, man, you could like look up, you know, where you're gonna be, like where everything is, and you just print it out and you have a map. I'm like, whoa, and it's like on a CD-ROM and all that shit.
Wait,
yeah,
these guys don't even know what that means.
But yeah, back then when we did US tours, we get a fax, you know, like, you know, of all of every show you were going to do, but it was a photocopy that was faxed to you of the Thomas guide because we didn't have GPS. And then
European Thomas guide.
No, but they had their own versions. Like they had maps, obviously, and but there we were lucky over there. We had a driver, so they already knew where they were going.
Right.
But here, man, you're looking at this map, and you're like, what the fuck is, you know, fax is all.
Miserably badly printed.
Right.
You could see it was highlighted, but there's no highlight because they faxed it to you.
If people want to merch out and buy a shit ton of Jughead's Revenge stuff, which you should do, or Jug's Revenge, where would they go to do that?
Oh,
MySpace.
Your space, not MySpace.
MySpace.
A record store.
No. It's JR merch at storeenvy.com. Yeah, we still have
JR merch at storeenvy.com. Buy some shit. these guys' royalties are going to run out at some point. They won't be millionaires in the next couple of years.
Somebody's got to fill that kiddie pool.
Yeah,
the champagne pools are going to stop flowing. It's going to go rancid.
Yeah. You know, what was a funny thing about the Book Your Own Life shows was that you had no idea what you were going to get, and a lot of the time it was, you know, like, where are we staying? And we would be, you know, like the 16-year-old promoter who's, you know, did your show at a VFW hall or something, and you want it stay. Oh man, that was like all the time. And you know, we'd be
on the couch.
It's like, oh, if you were lucky, usually on the floor. But you know, and then like mom would be coming in from, you know, her graveyard shift wherever, you know,
second job.
You hear keys and like a door opening, and then just like,
who the fuck are these assholes?
Sees all these fucking dudes all over her house. Tyler, there are all these people in my room, and like, you know, some dude comes out in his boxers, just like, oh, sorry guys, you gotta go.
Yeah.
I know it's 3 a.m., but guess what?
Texas was always weird because they had those dry counties, and I remember it was the Lazlo tour we did, and we played at, you know, some like a storage unit type of thing, you know? And we show up, and the promoter, probably 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
He's like, we asked him, you know, because Lazlo, we were a bunch of drinkers. Hey man, where's the closest liquor store? He's this is a dry county, man.
Yeah.
So this other guy comes in with a backpack. He kind of reminds me of my son over here. He had these little airplane bottles, man. He's like, hey, went to my dad's house, skated to my dad's house real quick. I got you 4 of these, you know.
Like, man, it's not gonna help.
One's gin, one's, you know,
man.
like tequila, one's a whiskey, one's a brandy. And I was like, well, it's good enough for me, you know. But it was so cool, like, because we could do that back then, you know.
We stayed at this one guy's house where his girlfriend tried to pee on me while I was sleeping.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Luckily, I woke up before, and I was like, hey, why didn't you wake me up?
I can help.
No, but that was pretty weird. You just wake up and you're just like, what the fuck?
Trying to make myself squirt.
It was weird.
I'm in
the middle of the night or whatever. I was
Can I get a snorkel?
Yeah, dude. So, yeah. So, still want to go on tour?
Guys, the Jughead Revenge new album.
Vultures. Yeah,
Vultures.
on Spam
We're right
Records.
here. You don't have to call us that in person.
Yeah, Vultures. Check out the video for I'll Be Seeing You on YouTube.
Is this the album right here?
Which one? What?
Is this the album?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got a
Artwork done
t-shirt.
by Dylan Smith. He he did the cover and the shirt. Yeah, he's awesome too. But yeah, the video, Jurgen is just a genius. We're really proud of that one. So
You guys plan on recording again?
I hope so. I don't know. We've always kind of been like that. We're
Maybe.
destination unknown. That's kind of been our whole thing.
You had to say that. It just put some rancid song in my head. So
Is that what it was?
I was like a missing person.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So tour. Are you guys doing anything currently? Are you on the road? You playing soon? What's going on?
We're going back to Canada in the fall. Doing 3 festivals in Quebec, and I don't know. I'm sure something will pop up out here before we go.
I do see a foreclosure in Jughead's little.
We should do a reunion of all these, you know.
Retirement punk, Social Security punk,
Yeah.
The AARP tour, you know.
The ARWP.
Because it's been, you know, forever since we've shared the stage together.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny. The cover of the Pearly Gates, which was, you know,
That retirement home.
yeah, like a punk rock retirement home. That's the
Oh, yeah.
theme of the cover, but anyway. But there's like a balloon in the back. It's like Happy New Year 2025. And it's like back then. I mean, this came out in 2000, and we thought, oh yeah, it's funny. Now we're just like, oh shit,
Here we
Next
go.
year, next year, and we actually look like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a premonition.
I think Joe looks better than either one of us.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, you got less
you
white than
grew-
I do.
you definitely aged well. Better
I mean,
the
that's
rest of the
pretty
guys
good
in
for
the band.
32.
How I'm still alive is a complete mystery.
It's nerddom. It's awesome punk rock. It's great friends. It's amazing memories. It's changing the world, as it were. I mean, honestly, that's kind of what went on that whole time. There was definitely some, I think, world-changing events, and there's a lot of lives changed because of what you guys did.
Well, yeah, I mean, how Vultures even happened was that was like a product of COVID. pretty much, because like, I mean, everybody's schedule got, pretty wiped clean. And I
heard Jared was very nervous during those sessions.
Yeah, he hadn't recorded in a while, but Jared Thornton is just awesome.
He is.
He played on Images Everything, played on 13 Kitty Favorites. He's a powerhouse. So he was fine. He was totally fine.
He was okay. He was good enough.
No, I mean, as far as like being nervous, he was fine. It's just he hadn't played.
How did you guys get Ty?
Oh, so yeah.
Handcuffs.
How much time do you have? I met him through the Vandals. Josh was off playing with somebody at a time where the Vandals were on the Warped Tour, and they remembered a drummer from a band that had opened for the Vandals out in St. Louis or something. And they remembered the drummer, so they got in touch with them. They're like, hey, can you fill in for a week while Josh was off playing with whoever? And then Jared finally we were touring a lot back then, and he was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. So Joe Escalante gave me Ty's info, and he lived in this little town, Springfield, Illinois, and I somehow convinced him to move out here. And he was living at the Fuller Pad at Brian's house, and I got him a job, and like a warehouse job.
Damn it! I was going to say like Okie Dog.
No, no,
that would have been way cooler.
It wasn't Vivid.
Well, no. The funny thing was at a porn company.
Yeah, Vivid.
And it was I think it was at Legend. But yeah. Oh no, he was
happy as a clam, I'm sure.
Dude, he was boning all these chicks. He was. I would hear about it from my friend who he was running the company. He's like, yeah, man, he's crazy hanging out with all these girls, which by that time, like all the guys that had been around in that industry for a while were just like, they knew how much of a headache they were. But he was just stoked, and he's calling his friends back home. Dude,
guess what I'm doing right now?
Oh yeah, no, I heard all about it, man. It was like, oh, cool.
He was in a band called Bullets and Octane.
Right.
And
yeah.
I remember that name for some reason.
Dude, the first album is just amazing.
Yeah,
I got into them because of these guys.
Okay.
Yeah, Ty's an amazing drummer. He was really cool. Yeah, that was another record we did at West Beach was
and then guitar wise, you only a few times in your guys' career did you have two guitar players, George Snow, original, and then Craig Riker,
right?
And then I think that was it.
Yeah,
right?
Craig played on Just Joined. Yeah, George. When we first started, it was Kevin Heller on drums and George Snow, which was funny because we were originally just jamming. It was me, Joey, and Brian and Heller, and George just kind of showed up with the guitar. So it was like, oh, okay. I mean, there wasn't any kind of plan or anything then. We were just doing like Black Flag covers at Target Studios in Reseda, or you rent it for $20 an hour or whatever. But and it went from there. But yeah, George left in after the record we did with Slayer Heavy, and then Craig came in. He was in a band called Blunt from
Florida.
Yeah, from Florida. I think it was Pensacola, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, and then he played with us for that record, and then he took off to do something with Dead Z.
And now he's a chef.
Yeah.
It's amazing what
dude,
the ones that didn't make it.
Do you know how many fucking punk rock heads I know became chefs? Like fucking.
So did I.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I worked at Kitchens for 10 years.
Yeah, I worked in and out, and I'm like, then in construction, and then this nightmare. I mean, great job. I love my fucking work. Yeah.
Yeah, I still love cooking, but I don't do it
for me. Anymore. I like cooking for me.
Yeah, my family is pretty much who I'm cooking for now. That's about it. But yeah, I did Texas barbecue for a long time. Other random things like the last place I was working at was at Universal Studios in the culinary building in the back lot. We did like everything that like went out to the park.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We didn't work in the park. That was horrible. The back lot was already bad enough, but Yeah.
I if I could get a job at Universal, I want to be the tour guide in the tram.
I think we should actually have like a Waldorf and fucking Statler tour guide service
Yeah.
that we could just like have people in our own personal fucking tram.
Yeah.
That would be the sickest thing in the history of the world. If Jughead's Revenge in the trailer playing, you and me just talking shit to everybody, driving erratically.
We do that anyway.
Who wants to swim the Jaws?
We should steal a tram.
I know somebody who did. It doesn't go well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. There's a little bit of time in a place called Lockup. Yeah,
It's on Universal.
They have their own, but then they send you somewhere else.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I think
it's
we're
that
right
time. It's that magic time.
Everybody, Joe Doherty, Jughead's Revenge.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for if you're still watching.
There's at least 3.
Yeah.
Minus
I think your lady,
it's like,
your
oh,
lady,
there's
my
3.
lady,
Oh,
and
wait a
your,
minute,
and
there's
your
a negative.
stepdaughter. Somebody put in the comments, I want my money back.
Yeah.
Yeah, send me an invoice, bitch.
Oh, it was Brian.
Listen, we'll have to do it again, especially now the rest is the record out.
Yeah, Voltage
It
is
is.
out. And yeah, it's streaming everywhere, wherever you get your tunes.
We're gonna talk about pressing some vinyl. I happen to have a record press here.
Yeah. Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Well, I don't, but I know somebody who does
Okay.
in this building.
Yeah, you can buy the vinyl at the JR merch at storeenvy.com.
There you go.
Yeah, we have because the label's in Europe, but we brought some back with us.
Send these gentlemen some money because their royalties are starting to run out. Joe Ramici's eating all the royalties in the form of corn chips.
What?
Don't steal a tram at 4 a.m. I want to do it at 10 a.m.
Oh,
right when they open.
I was talking 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Dude, there were guys I worked with that did that kind of stuff all the time. Dude, the cooks in the coronary building, it's literally like a pirate ship. It's not.
Where do I apply?
Dude, it was nuts. Yeah, there was one guy he just flat out. Well, one guy stole one of the trams like after the park was closed. Another guy was like sleeping in one of the trams till security found him. He's just like, "What? No, I work here." Yeah.
Not here.
Yeah,
I work over there.
Or during horror nights where there's a lot of
dude, horror nights are the best.
Yeah, horror
I
nights
love
are like-
horrors.
I like horror.
Yeah.
I like horror night.
Horrors are the best.
I like horror night.
Like when it's just like nonstop horrors.
Tight, man.
All right, kids. I think this is about it. Again, go to the merch store, buy all the shit, and like spend your hard-earned paycheck. Your kids don't need to go to college. Fuck that shit.
Look what it did for us.
I
We didn't go to
know.
college.
I didn't go to college. I
You
went
didn't
near.
go to college, right?
Yeah,
I went close to college.
I didn't even go to high school.
I'm not allowed there anymore.
I was on tour the whole time.
Same here.
Ladies,
All
I
right,
was gonna go to medical
germs.
school.
Suck it, assholes.